No problem. Yes. I'm in no hurry.
Hey folks, I'd like to have your attention before we get started with the service today. If you do have a cell phone, if you might put it on silent or turn it off, that way we can see uninterrupted today. I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to thank all people on the website there too for being with us. Again, cell phones please you can turn off, and now we're going to let Jeff get started here in just a second.
Yeah, we're all good.
From 1 Thessalonians, chapter 4, verses 13 and 14. Brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep with him. Betty Method was born on this day, July 16, 1921, to Katie and Raymond Penfield. She was united in marriage to William Method, who passed away in 1986. They had 3 children, 10 grandchildren, 21 great-grandchildren, and 15 great-great-grandchildren. She graduated in 1939 from Minersburg High School and was active in the 39ers Club up to the time when she moved into the nursing facility. She was also active with the Garden Club, the Women's Society, and served as a scout leader. She lived in the Miamisburg area her entire life and was very proud of the city she lived in. Now for the rest of the story. Most of her and the family referred to her as Grandma or Granny. My mother told me the story that when she started school, Grandma came to her and said, "You need to learn to cook and clean because I'm going back to work, so you need to do those tasks and watch your 2 sisters until I get home." She worked for years at Wright's in Dayton before she went to the Mutual Federal Savings Loan in Miamisburg. While there, she became one of the first female bank managers in the Dayton area, helping them to open a new branch. She was definitely a strong-willed individual who wanted things her way. She would like to sleep late and stay up late. So when the new office was open, which she was managing, she didn't mind at all. They didn't open until noon. In fact, she was very happy about it. She also helped to implement the first computer banking system at the Savings and Loan, despite having no computer experience. After she retired, they learned that she was the only one who knew how to do mortgages on the system and had to go back regularly for 5 years, training others to take over the job. She and her husband Bill were avid campers. They owned Scotty trailers and went camping most every weekend and almost never missed a camp out for the Frigidaire Club or the Scotty Club. They were so active with the Scotty Club that she became the national treasure for them and their newsletter editor. I can remember many times in the basement of their home helping them get the numerous newsletters done, which they ran on a mimeograph machine, which I'm sure several in this room don't even know what that is. She also always sighed heavily and just shook her head whenever Bill would disappear into the trailer. as she knew he would usually come out wearing some kind of silly costume and a wig. And on July 4th, he always came out dressed up as Uncle Sam. After Bill's death, she still camped with her friends Ralph and Betty until while in West Virginia, the trailer jackknifed on the vehicle she was driving and totaled the car and the camper. She did end up with a metal plate permanently placed in her arm. The funny part about the accident, though, was she always carried a large jar of gumdrops in the front seat of her car with her. At the accident scene, the officer said the gumdrops all over the road looked like a colored snowstorm had hit. Grandma loved her crafts and making clothes for others. And during the 70s, when leisure suits were in, she made them for Grandpa, who loved to wear them. Once she asked me if I liked the one which he was wearing. I didn't want to be rude, so I said, yes, it looks good on him. What a big mistake. The next time I saw her, she had a lime green leisure suit for me, which of course I never wore. She wasn't shy about getting things done. Once when it snowed and she couldn't get out of her driveway, she called the mayor, Dick Church, and told him, get someone out here quick to take care of this snow at the end of my driveway. I'm supposed to pick up your mom and take her to the doctors. And unless you want to take her yourself, you better get here quickly. They immediately came out and plowed into the driveway. She was a member of the Eastern Star for 72 years and an officer for nearly 50 years when she belonged down in Miamisburg until they merged with Middletown. When she started having driving troubles, Pam and I joined the Eastern Star to help drive her to and from the meetings. We told her we'd drive her, but she insisted that we come down and drive her car. So we showed up at her house and she told us to be there. She'd already left and told us when we got down there at the meeting, I couldn't wait forever on you. She never let us once drive her down. She was a faithful member of St. James United Methodist Church and rarely missed a Sunday for many years. But when she went, she had her seat at the church in the back pew. And no one better sit in that seat. One Sunday when I went, I made the mistake of sitting down in that seat. And she told me, you'll need to move if you want to stay for church today. Granny wasn't much of a cook, but she always liked to have the family gatherings at her house. I remember one year when she took a pre-cooked ham and put it in the microwave to heat it up. When it came out several minutes later, the slices of ham were so tough you couldn't put a knife through them. And she always insisted on one thing, that she would cook the dinner rolls. And she always forgot them when she put them in the oven, and always burnt the bottoms. She'd take them out and insist that people eat them, as she would say, they aren't really burnt that bad. But Grandma was a fighter. 6 times she had different types of cancer, and 6 times she beat it. She also loved all her grandchildren and was happy to see them visit. When she first entered the nursing facility was when they basically learned she had Alzheimer's. At first, she remained fairly independent, but as time rolled on, it was obvious she was starting to lose the battle. She participated in an early study on music therapy for Alzheimer's patients, and even made the nightly news for the progress she made on the therapy sessions. When she got significantly worse, she moved to the Kingston long-term health care. I was told by several workers there that she was one of their favorites. And she'd often fake that she was sleeping, and when they turned to leave, she'd pinch them on the butt and then start laughing. Over the past 4 years, I went almost daily during the week, as she needed someone to feed her, and I did breakfast shift. For a while, she talked briefly, and sometimes she made sense. One of the funniest things she ever said to me, though, and I won't forget this, is it was on a Friday, and I said, "Grandma, what are you planning on doing over the weekend?" She told me, "I'm going to put my dancing shoes on, and I'm going to have a baby this weekend." As time moved on, her troubles got worse, and she could just say a few nonsensical words or maybe move to acknowledge that you were there. And unfortunately, around February of this year, she stopped that little portion of acknowledgement. And most of the time, you might stay there for 45 minutes, an hour or more, and she might not even move or give any kind of acknowledgement that you were there. She suffers no more. We should celebrate her long life and all the opportunities we had time to spend with her. Her physical being may be gone, but her memory will live on within each of us forever. As we read in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." And in Philippians 4:7, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Amen.
Thank you all. This does conclude the services here today at the cemetery. And as we're going today, I'd like to invite you to keep a flower as a keepsake over here. That's all I would do that. And then as you pass on by, I'd like to remind you that each one of us is so individual and so unique, and we all share unique individual memories of that. So as you go by her urn bag, I'd like you to place your handprint. Leave your fingerprints on this so they can stay with you forever. Thanks again for being here today. Oh, would anybody else like to say anything up here? It's okay if you need a second to collect your thoughts. Or
Okay, I'll start. Diane and I have a really fun memory of back then. We have a lot of fun memories. Oh,
So then they can see what it is.
Oh, I don't want to see us. We have a lot of fun memories, obviously, because we're some among the older of the cousins. But in our recent remembrance, and I believe it was her 90th birthday, we went to visit her and took a cake and took her card, and she read the card, and we had signed Melanie and Diana, and we said, "Hey, Betty, do you know who that is?" "Yeah," she said, "that's my sister's girls." And then she proceeded to talk to us about us, and we learned some things about our childhood that were very unique and exciting. She obviously didn't know that we were us, but she told us a lot of things about us, and we just treasure that because we had so much fun, and having been experienced that, we understood what the Alzheimer's could do, so we just went with it, but it was so fun to remember, and we often, talk about that. Want to add to that?
At the same time that we were there, she was, Wellington. She was at Wellington and she loved cornhole. And she was out in the hallway with several other people, but she was in charge of the cornhole game. It was so epic because she loved.
And I think you actually took some movies of that.
Yeah.
It was just fun. So that was one of our more recent. And on my last visit, I had to think when Jeff was speaking, she just wasn't in bed anymore, but we still wanted to see her and just share a few moments. So we were able to do that. And I personally am indebted to her. When I was under some ravaging chemo and not able to sleep, I can remember so clearly, she said, "You don't have to sleep, but just let your body rest." She said, "Sit down, close your eyes, pretend you're asleep," and it truly was a time that it allowed me to live.
Anybody else have any memories they'd like to share? All right, well, thanks again for being here, everyone.